today we are conducting like two mock sessions for you guys as a part of CADR orientation. The first mock will be the mediation mock, and the second one will be the client counseling mock. So we'll begin with the session. I'm hoping that you all have gone through the GIs and the CIs that were shared with you. They'll be really helpful for you to understand what we're going to do today. The sessions will be short and will be basically to tell you about the parts of the how the competitions take place and what are the essential parts of a mediation competition and what are the essential parts of client counseling competition. We hope that you can understand what what our team is doing in terms of their body language, how they take up the roles, what are the opening statements about, what are the formalities, and what are the things you can take discretion upon. So I'll give hand over the mic to the mediators to start with the mediation session.
All right. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Malvika Nautiyal, and you can call me Malvika. I would like to welcome all of you to your mediation. And I hope none of you had any issue while joining the meeting, and I'm clearly audible to you. I hope that's okay. So I would like to thank all of you to be here. And before we start, I would love if all of the members could let us know their names, their positions in today's session, and also if they have the authorization to take any decisions today. So yeah, any one of you might start.
Greetings to all. I'm Evan, and I have full authorization to take any decisions today.
I am Vaibhav, and I am Mr. Evan's counsel. You may address me as Vaibhav.
Hi,
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Casey, and I have full authorization to take any decision in today's session.
Hi everyone. My name is Aditya. I request you all to call me by my first name, and I'm here in the capacity of a legal counsel to Ms. Casey, and my role here would be entirely advisory, and all the pertinent decisions would be taken by my client herself.
All right. Thank you so much. And so I'll be calling all of you by your first names. I hope that's okay. Yeah. Okay, so at the outset, I would like to congratulate and thank all of you for choosing mediation as the method of dispute resolution, because it shows greatly on your commitment to resolving this issue in a more amicable and efficient manner. So granted both the parties follow the ground rules and are committed to this decision, I assure you that this would prove to be a very efficient process. Right. So now, just to give you a basic idea of what the ground rules are and of what mediation exactly is, my co-mediator Avishikta would like to tell you a little about it. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Malvika, my co-mediator, for the brief introduction, and welcome to both the parties. This is Avishikta, the co-mediator, and in this process of mediation, both the parties will be given full chance to present their side of the facts and express their desires with respect to the outcome of the session. And we are here, the mediators are here to help you reach an amicable middle ground and a basis on which you can settle your disputes. There are certain characteristics of mediation session which the parties should know before we begin with the session. Number one, that it is an entirely voluntary session. Number two, that it is confidential. So full honesty is required from both the parties. Number three, that as mediators, we are here to give you solutions and advise you. However, our solutions are merely advisory and you're not bound by whatever we say. We are here just to give you advice, and you're not bound by it as already been mentioned. We are here to facilitate communication between the two and reach amicable settlement. We would request both the parties not to interrupt while the other party is speaking and keep the decorum at all times. Also, in case there is a deadlock or a stalemate, any of the parties can call for a caucus, and there would be private caucus with the mediators. But for this session, it will be restricted to 5 minutes, where each of the parties can discuss whatever they want to discuss with the mediators while the other parties are not present. So with this in mind, I hope both the parties are ready to settle their disputes in an amicable manner. and move on with the mediation session. So we encourage the mediation session to be in the interest of all. And over to you, Malvika. I guess Malvika will present document now so that we can prepare the agenda after the introduction of both the parties. Over to you, Malvika.
Right. So before that, I would request now both the parties to give their opening statements. And as Avishikta has mentioned, after this, we will be tabling the agenda, right? So I think Evans, you can start. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Mediator. First of all, I'd like to thank the mediators for the thorough explanation of the mediation process. At the very outset, Casey, I really appreciate you coming here to this mediation. To me, this signals a desire on the part of both the parties to move forward instead of dwelling on our past. You taking out the time to reconsider the dynamics of our relationships is reassuring, and I hope we will be able to find solutions to the problems that we have faced. First of all, Casey, over the last few weeks, I have been contemplating, and I have realized that I hurt you and caused you a lot of pain. Even though it was unintentional, but I am at fault. I apologize for all the pain and agony that my family caused to you. Casey, I grew up in a very conservative family with a great deal of pressure to be successful. When I heard about the potential promotion, I thought it was the most important aspect of my life. But I was wrong, Casey. You and Elsa are the most important part of my life. Due to the increasing stress and anxiety of promotion and the family disputes, I lost track of what I was supposed to do, what I should have done. I made some mistakes, and I'm sorry for that. I know sorry cannot fix all things, and I'm willing to make the efforts required to solve the issues that you faced. As the mediator has emphasized the need to be honest and frank, I admit I was wrong on multiple occasions that eventually had a detrimental effect on our relationship and on Elsa's work. We have come to this mediation with the belief that it will provide both the parties an opportunity to grow together and solve all the issues that we have faced. Our goal today is to maximize mutual benefits without dwelling on the past process and the past unfortunate events. Mr. Bogra, can you please now continue the discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Evan. Good evening to everyone again. Thank you, Mrs. Mediators, for your thorough explanation of the mediation process. I am Vaibhav Kogra and I will be representing my client, Mr. Evan, as I've said earlier. At the very outset, we are extremely sorry for the situation that has come upon in your family. And in addition to that, as my client has already stated, as a preliminary matter, I would like to clarify that as a counsel, I would be operating primarily in an advisory capacity. I think it to be in the best interest for the parties to articulate their own perspectives instead of getting tangled in legal quagmire and technicalities of the matter. We should nonetheless bear in mind that this mediation occurs in the shadow of the law. And should we stray too far away from the primary interest, I believe Miss Mediators would help us redirect us. What my client and I seek to achieve through this discussion is for both the parties to listen to each other in a manner in which we haven't been able to do so far. As highlighted by the mediators, while the proceedings remain confidential, we should all be open and transparent with each other. Our goal today is to maximize the mutual benefits to both the parties rather than only dwelling on our past losses. For us, the resolution of two issues is key. First, reinstating and saving the marriage, and second, to reconsider the possibilities of separate living and all the problems faced by each other. I believe we are good to go. Mr. Ewan and Mrs. Casey, I again advise you, please be open-minded and straightforward in this process. It will be in the interest of both the parties. Thank you.
Right. So Casey,
Yeah,
Casey's side.
thank you so much. To start us off, I'd really like to thank Evans for being here today. It truly warms my heart to see that the both of us can still give each other a chance to sit and talk through our differences, even after everything that has happened between us. I'd also like to thank both the mediators and the legal counsels for being here and helping both Evan and I to try and reach a mutually beneficial solution. This is my first mediation session, and I really can't thank the mediators enough for making this entire process so easy and the setting so comfortable. Evans, I don't really know what to say. We have been together for over 4 years now, and these years have been some of the best and also some of the worst in my life. I love the relationship that I have with you, but it's your family that I have been facing problems with. There are a lot of differences that I have with your mother and your brother's family, and it all boils down to your mother's unfair treatment towards me. Because of that, my work life as well as my mental health has been extremely affected. I am always overburdened, and I believe that this problem has taken a toll on our daughter as well. I don't understand that when I suggested to move out and stay separately from your family, I was really shocked when instead of understanding, because all of this was happening before your own eyes, you withdrew from me, and instead of talking it through, you blamed me for ruining your relationship between you and your parents. I was completely shattered when you turned violent and slapped me. Evans, all I wanted was for you to be understanding and for the both of us to move all past all our troubles and mistakes. But when I saw that that wasn't the case here, I felt compelled to file for a divorce. Mediators, I'm here because I'm willing to give mediation a chance, for I truly believe that if Evans and I just talk through all our problems together, we'll be able to solve anything. Today, I plan to discuss the issues in our marriage and also to figure out a few aspects of our relationship that may set course and may impact the rest of my future together with Evans. Mediators, it hurts me a lot to see all of this is happening, and I keep faith that through this session, Evans and I will be able to find a way to move forward through all this. That's it from my side. I'd now like to pass over to my counsel to
Hello, everyone.
continue the discussion.
Yeah, hello, everyone. Firstly, allow me to express my heartfelt gratitude to both the parties for coming here today with open minds to find a resolution to the problem that has arisen between the two. I do acknowledge that it takes a lot of efforts to come and sit in front of someone with whom we've had issues in the past. I would also extend my regards to both the mediators for having agreed to mediate this session. I'm certain that both of your expertise would benefit us greatly throughout the session. Moving further, I think as my friend on the other side, the legal counsel stated that we have agreed for this mediation process and we should not delve into the legalities of this issue. So I wouldn't be dwelling upon those parts as well. We've shown our faith in mediation, so I think the legalities can be kept out of this session. We chose this mediation as a dispute resolution mechanism for its very great and simple qualities. So I really thank all of you for making this happen. As my client has already narrated the incidents of the past and the very reasons as to why we have gathered here in the first place, a mutual beneficial approach through the session for both the parties should be the very fundamental goal for the session. I will briefly lay down the very envisioned agenda for the session that my client and the very core issues that my client tends to negotiate through the session, such that it will be discussed and hopefully we will reach a resolution upon these issues through this process of mediation. So the first issue that my client would like to discuss in this session is that the future course of this relationship and their particular marriage, and secondly, the issue of living separately from Evan's family. These agendas are my client's priority concerns, and we hope for a fruitful discussion in this session. Thank you. That's it from my side.
All right, thank you to both the parties. You have explained your sides very clearly. And what I can see, there emerges two very clear agendas that both the parties would like to be discussed today. Right, so I'll be sharing my screen and we can jot it down so that it's clear to both the parties as to what exactly we'll be discussing today. Right, okay. So in no particular order. So one of the agendas, of course, is the future course of this relationship, right? So both the parties, that means both the parties are open to the question of discussing how this should go, right? So right, does any party have any issue with this agenda? Is this okay with everyone?
None from our side.
Yes,
All right,
yes, Ms. India.
right. Okay, and so the second was the question of separation, right? So that is, could either of the parties elucidate a little on that?
Yes, Ms. Mediator.
Yes,
So the second issue that we would like to discuss was the issue of living separately from Evan's family specifically.
Okay.
Miss Mediator, just a second.
Right.
what my opposite just counsel just said, living separately from Evan's family. From Evan's family, what family members does he mean?
Could you please
Like,
repeat?
does he mean that whole family or from brother, sister, or mother?
Yes,
Okay,
mediator, may I
so would you like
elucidate
to
upon
answer?
that point? Yeah, sure. So my client basically refers to the entirety of Evan's family, that is her mother-in-law and the brother-in-law's family.
Okay, thank you. Thank you
All
for
right, okay.
clarifying.
So if both the parties are clear on this, we shall begin with the first agenda, that is the future course of this marriage, right? Okay, I'll stop sharing now. So I believe the future course of this marriage, Casey, would you like to go first, yeah, now?
Sure, Miss Mediator.
All right.
Future. So, from my side, I just want Evans to clarify a few things here. Evans in his opening statement has given me an insight as to what he feels, and I know that he's apologetic. But I really want to promise, because as a part of his family, have been mistreated for 4 years now. Evan's family has physically and verbally harassed me, and my mother-in-law has always overburdened me with work while she pampered Alyssa. Here, I just want to promise from Evans to look into all these issues before we move on to discuss the entire agenda of staying together.
So basically, if I'm not wrong, you basically want to discuss the issue of the physical and the verbal harassment that you faced all these years, and as to what Evans would, do about the situation, what he's willing to do about that.
Yes, Miss
Yes,
Miss
Mediator.
My client basically wants a guarantee and a sort of a solution to the past events and the past harassment that she has faced on the part of Evan's family from her mother-in-law and from her brother-in-law's family.
Mr. Evans, would you like to say something on this?
Sure, please. Thank you. So, Casey, I promise you that I'm willing to make all the efforts that are required to sustain this relationship. As you yourself mentioned in the opening statement itself, that the 4 years that we were together, it was the best part of our lives. But it was when both of us were together and both of us communicated to each other. And you also stated that the worst part was because of my family. I apologize unreservedly for all the pain and agony they caused to you. And regarding the actions that I took for like hitting you, the anxiety and stress made me a person that I wasn't, and I don't want to be anymore. I regret those actions every single day when I wake up and when I go to bed. This is not an excuse for the actions, but I assure you and I promise you that I'm going to make the efforts that are required to make this relationship a better one for you. And with this, I believe the offers that I've asked my counsel to present will directly issue all the issues that directly address all the issues that you have presented here today. Mr. Kogra, can you please elaborate upon that?
Thank you, Mr. Evans. First of all, leaving all the emotional perspective aside, can I ask a just simple question from Ms. Casey or her counsel, that what is your mindset today in this mediation? What do you want to achieve out of the first agenda? That are you willing to set aside the divorce or are you willing to continue with it? So what is the intention behind it? Can I just get a brief perspective about it?
All right, Mr. Vaibhav. So, from my side, I do want to continue with the relationship with Evans because, like I've said, the 4 years that I've spent with him were also one of the best times in my life. But also, I have a few conditions to lay out before we can agree to doing that. If we
Yes,
can
yes,
do it.
yes, we will get to that. So now it is pretty loud and clear to everyone that both of the parties wants to reinstate the marriage and they want to save the marriage. So what my client wants here, and he's deeply apologetic for every event that has occurred in the 4 year marriage of 4 year marriage. And what he wants to say is that in order to keep the marriage alive right now, he will be willing to take certain considerations. Like first of all, he is willing to take any of the any of the step which Miss Casey puts forward, be it separate living, be it any kind of other work related issues, be it timing issues of the work, be it any kind of emotional or physical stress that she faced, and be it any kind of issue. And the only consideration in this regard from my client is that any of these considerations should not adversely affect his parents. That means, for example, if the issue comes about separate living, I just wanted to be clear in the room right now that if the issue comes about separate living, then my client does not want it to be this situation to be extended so far that his parents are suffered emotionally or physically in any way. And for that matter, he's he has brought three innovative ideas to me, and I would like to present it to you. He stated me that in order to survive the marriage, the basic consideration which you both thought about was living separately, which Mr. Evans earlier denied and didn't responded properly. So now he thought that it would be better to understand it in a three-way. First, that if you both could separately live on separate floors in the same house. That means first ground floor will be of your parents, and the first floor will be of you, and third floor will be of his brother and his family. And the second approach is that you could take a new home, but not just right now. It will take some monetary considerations too, and you will take a new house and near about 100 to 200 meters in 2 to 3 lanes in the same society, in the same colony. And the third aspect is that you would be willing to live in a 500 to 1 kilometer radius as a separate family, and that too will be only considered after taking into account the financial situations of both the parties. So these are the basic consideration, and I mix both the agendas. But sorry, Miss Mediators, both these agendas are quite linked together. So please respond to that.
Yes, Mr.
Mr.
Weber. Yes, Ms.
Yeah, yeah,
Mediator.
please, Mr. Aditya, please.
Mr. Weber, we are thankful that you are here to settle and basically reach a resolution on these issues, and we duly take into consideration the offers that you have put forth to my client. But keeping the again as the counsel on behalf of Ms. Casey, I'll also keep the emotional perspective aside, and I'll also focus on the reason and on the past and the kind of behavior that has been meted out to Ms. Casey on part of Evan's family. So basically, the entire past of harassment, be it physical or verbal, has had a very traumatic result on Miss Casey's health, which has affected her professional and personal life as well. And she's also worried about the future of her daughter Elsa, who is even though currently 3 years old, but she has been subject to all the harassment, and she has all been an audience to all the harassment that Miss Casey has faced. So all taking into consideration all your offers, we would personally, as it was stated by Ms. Casey earlier, that she wanted to live separately, and there was no particular foundations as to the very distance between the homes that they would be living. And the very basic condition was of Ms. Casey was to live separately, so that there is no interaction, so to say, daily interaction between Ms. Casey and Mr. Evans' family. So that is the very crux of what Miss Casey wants as a consideration on part of Miss Evan, rather than making and it is also in the interest of Miss Casey to not ruin or to not affect the relationship of Mr. Evan with his family, including his brother's family and his mother. So that is what Miss Casey, my client, tends to put forward in response to your considerations.
Okay, so let me just summarize it a little for both the parties so that we can understand where we are at this point of time. Right, so from Evan's side, he is willing to compromise, right, on like the living situation, and amongst the various options that he's given is one where the couple along with their child, they can live somewhere near the house, not exactly in the house, but like within 1 kilometer radius, right, or like a different house but in the same area, right. And from Casey's side, she of course is willing to continue with the marriage. That is not a question, but of course with conditions, because she's faced mental and physical harassment. So her main condition is to not be face to face with the family throughout, right? So what I can see is both the parties are certainly inclined towards living in a different house, maybe in the same area, but right, to continue marriage, no one is against that. So this is one point that
Just
like both parties to keep in mind, mutually similar position, so to say. Yeah, Abhishekta.
Malvika just went off. The network was troubling in between. Yeah, thank you so much, Vaibhav and Aditya. If I can call you by your first names, that is. Um, uh, well summarized by Malvika, definitely. And whatever I think has come out of the first opening statements and also the statements of both the legal representatives here is that the first agenda, that is the reinstating of marriage, both the parties agree to reinstating their marriage. Since, as I would just like to point this out, that this is a pre-litigation mediation, that is the litigation stage hasn't been like arrived yet. We haven't come to the point where there would be litigation charges or litigation offers, that notices that you send across to both the parties, and that is why this mediation is so necessary. And I guess the first agenda, you can point it out if I'm wrong here. The first agenda of reinstating the marriage, reinstating the conjugal rights of both the parties. Both the parties agree on this point that there should be reinstatement of conjugal rights and the marital right, because both the parties are clearly happily married and they want to live separately. Am I right on this point? Is this mediator right on this point?
Yes,
Can
Ms.
you-
Mediator. The only condition on Ms. Casey's side is that the prerequisite to continuing the marriage is living separately from Mr. Evans' family. That becomes a prerequisite for the first
Right.
addendum. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, Aditya, for pointing it out. And I feel that there are three very basic conditions of this entire living separate zone that Miss Casey pointed out. Evans had, if I can call you Evans, that is my first name.
Sure.
Evans pointed out three very basic points. If Vaibhav can reinstate that, three
Yes,
basic.
very well. Very well. I did that with the objective that because the only condition of Miss Casey is that she doesn't want to be face to face with the Evans family. So I did this just because to get a perspective that how close they want to live with the family. And the first option was that they could live in floor-wise situation in which Evans' family will live just above the floor of his parents, so that Evans can also be in close proximity with his parents. And the second situation was that it would be in near about 100 to 200 meters in 2 or 3 lanes separately, 2 or 3 lanes house. Or third situation was that it would be in a 500 to 1 kilometer radius. Now the point is that the two conditions, second and third, are codependent on the point of financial burden too. So it will be decided in a separate meeting too, but that is prerequisite to that because both the parties' jobs have been suffering from past, and it is quite evident. So let keep this also in perspective, and then Mr. Evans would like to add anything, he should.
So just to summarize what Vaibhav said, there are three options open to Miss Casey and her legal representative, of course. That is number one, living on separate floors of the same house. Number two, a new house altogether within a 500 to 1 kilometer radius. And number three, that is living separately, is not an option here.
No,
Are
no,
you
no, no.
considering?
I'm so sorry,
If I
Miss
may
Mediator. Yes, Mr. Evans.
If I may please clarify the offer. So the basic offer is that we are willing to live separately from our parents, but I need to be in a close proximity with them so I can take regular care of them, maybe weekly or twice a month. This sort of arrangement we are looking for.
Right. So if I may add, I think as Mr. Bogra rightly said, basically I see that both the parties are willing to live apart, right? But the financial aspect is what will be discussed later on. I think somewhat have a mutual acceptance in this area, but the financial aspect we'll discuss later. And also, I just wanted to ask the parties if, in case any of the parties wants to discuss something which they are not very confident on, discussing in the open, either of the parties can ask for a caucus, just to let both the parties know.
Yeah, Miss Mediator,
Oh.
first, in response to Miss Vaibhav's offer, my client would technically not exactly reject the very first option that was offered by Mr. Vaibhav, that of living on separate floors in a same building, because that would entail a sort of a daily interaction with Mr. Evans' family, which is not what my client wants. And further, I'll ask my client if she wants to add something to that.
If I may please just add on a brief thing before you move on to Casey. So Casey, in the beginning, you asked me a promise. I believe that you deserve a lot more than a promise, and I'm willing to make the efforts. So for that, I understand that you are worried for your profession and our daughter Elsa as well. So for the past 4 years, you have sacrificed your work life for me. Now I believe it is time for me to do the same. So I'll write an application to my job, and I will not be taking a lot of workload, and I will assist you in the household chores as well. And moving on to my parents' issue, over the past few weeks, I've spent a considerable amount of efforts in realizing what kind of person I am. I cannot just let my parents live on their own. I need to take care of them on a weekly basis. This is who I am, and I believe I really want you to accept this for me.
Thank you, Evans. Thank you, Vaibhav. So I am not exactly against the offers that have been put forth here by the council. My only prerequisite is, as stated by my council Aditya, is that I don't want any kind of daily interaction with Evans, your family. I would say that I would be more comfortable with taking the third offer, which is staying somewhere around 500 around 1 kilometer away from your family. Also, the fact, Evans, I appreciate that you are here and you are compassionate and you are here to compromise. It is um, it is a very
Miss Casey, your voice,
Casey,
you
you're
have
in
muted
mute.
yourself.
Miss Casey, we are unable to hear you, I guess. You've muted yourself.
And please, if I may add, Miss Casey, I'm so sorry, but please don't use the word compromise. Please say adjust in the marriage situations. Compromise is a bad word when we use in situations like marriage disputes. Thank you. You may please continue.
Thank you, Vaibhav. Thank you, Vaibhav. I'm sorry, my mic was unmuted. Yes, yes, Evans, I am extremely happy that you're here and that you are ready to adjust. And I would take up your third offer, that is staying 500 to 1 kilometer away from your family separately. I also agree to meeting your family once in a month, and we can also plan family trips with them and vacations so that you can take care of them. And you can meet them on a daily basis. My intention here is not to ruin your relationship with them. I just, because of all the past trauma and all the verbal abuse that I have faced, that is one of the reasons why we are here in this mediation session. And I would really like to state that I do not want a very daily interaction with your parents. That's it.
So Casey, thank you so much. I understand that as of now, your only concern is that you do not want daily interaction with my parents and or my family because of the unfortunate past events. I assure you that you do not have to interact them. You just have to interact only when you feel like. It is just me that I have to take care of my parents. There's no liability on you to do the same. And further, regarding the family trips, I've already planned a few, and I'm really looking forward to going to them with you and Elsa.
Thank you so much, Casey and Evans. This is a very positive note that we are going towards, and this is what mediation is all about. Before litigation, coming together, discussing the outcome, and coming to a very positive note. See, the first and the second agenda, if my co-mediator can point it out, both the first and the second agendas we have been able to cover today in this short meeting. Regarding the first, regarding the restitution of conjugal rights, and secondly, regarding the separation, living separately from Mr. Evans's family, where Casey has agreed to the third proposal proposed by Mr. Evans and Vaibhav here, that a house in the distance of 500 meters to 1 kilometer. And also a very positive note and a very friendly atmosphere of this mediation was the fact that there would be holidays that both parties would engage in. So this mediation, and also it is really nice to see that both the parties are interacting, bringing on people not only their emotions but also different. They are so positive about going forth with their relationship, which was strained because of certain factors. Over to you, Malvika. Any other points to add on here?
Yeah, so I'm really glad that both the parties have been, very conducive to each other's, sides here. And of course, both the agendas have sort of mingled together. And so what I can see from this is that both the parties are conducive to living separately, and the main issue is the financial decision. Now, as both the parties are working professionals, I believe it would not be that serious an issue. So I suppose our next sort of way of discussion should possibly be on how the parties aim to make this possible. Like, living 1 kilometer away, maybe on a rent or anything else, that's up to the parties to decide. But just to set the tone for the discussion, I believe if there's no other aspect which is yet to be, decided or sort of, yeah, so we can maybe
Miss
move
Mediator, if
forward.
I can please interrupt.
Sure, please.
The point of financial consideration, I believe, which can be decided later, but my client would like to point out some very crucial points. So we would like to call a caucus on that because he doesn't want Miss Casey to know.
Yes,
This is
sure.
his personal problems. So can we call a caucus?
Sure, yes. Okay, so now as we call the caucus, we'll have a 5-minute caucus. I request Casey and Mr. Aditya to leave the meeting for 5 minutes, and you may join it after 5 minutes.
Yeah, just before you. Alright. So just before we
Should
begin
we
with the caucus,
should we
Yeah,
join
you
the
may leave the
breakout room?
meeting. You can join after 5 minutes.
All right.
No, I have
Do we
shifted
have
them
all
towards a
the
breakout session.
attendees? Do we have all the attendees here? I think Malvika and Avishekta should be in the main session, right?
Yeah, we are in the main session. I've shifted Mavish and the other person to the breakout.
All right. Continue, guys.
yeah, so just before you begin with the caucus, it is pointed out that the caucus is an extremely confidential thing, a setting that the mediators or the council and the parties can call here. And in the caucus, whatever is discussed in the caucus, it won't be revealed to the other party. And be free to introduce whatever aspect you want to discuss with the mediators. So with
Just
this,
be honest about all your
Exactly.
expectations and whatever.
Over
Thank
to
you.
you, Evans.
Thank you, mediators. So one of my major concern is that even if we are going to look for a separate house, it is going to take a considerable amount of time, considering that we both are working professionals. So what about the time period while we get the new house? What will be the arrangement like during those time? So that is something I seek a clarification about from Casey. I really think that you
If
can
I
help me on this regard. And
yes,
further, if my counsel would like to add on to it.
yes, if I may add, what Mr. Evans is trying to say is that till the time being they take a new house and settle there, what will be the situation between these two till that time? And that is our only concern because we can't discuss it directly with them. They are quite emotional right now, and both the parties are quite emotional right now, and it is quite evident on that. But still, this is a very crucial point to discuss in this session because as of now, the most important part on my client is that he loves his wife and his daughter very much, and he wants them to stay with him from right now, from this date only. So what will be the situation at that time?
Okay. All right.
We will not reveal the fact that you want to discuss about the time aspect of.
Yeah, but we'll
till the
try to bring
time
this
the
up.
till the time the new house is made. What? But do you want us to put forth the idea of whether they would like to have another sort of setting till the new house is made? Do you want us to bring forth the idea of the time that would be in
Like
between?
a transitory arrangement of
Yes.
sorts.
If I may, yes, you can sure do that. Like maybe we can rent a house or something like that, but arrangement that allows us both to live together in the presence of our daughter.
Or much more better, we have a 3-story house right now, so we can live in a floor-based
Right.
situation
So if
till
I'm
the
not
time being.
wrong, until the time the third option is realized, maybe
Yeah,
as a sort of like a midway, you could possibly, do the first option that you decided of living in different, huh? We'll try to bring that up.
that's
Also,
it.
before we
Thank
discuss this, is Ms. Evans and Weber, you can point it out. Is the second option, that is the separate floor option, available to both like to you?
That's the first option.
Yeah, that's the first option. So is it available to you in its entirety? Like, do you have any conditions to that?
No, it is available to us in its entirety.
Thank you so much. So, anything else would you like to discuss here?
No, thank you.
Okay. So,
I'll
call
bring
in
them
the-
back.
We can call in the parties,
Yeah.
Casey and Aditya. Malvika, should we have a caucus with them as well?
I believe if they call for it, definitely I'll let them know again.
Casey
Yeah,
and Aditya, do you want a caucus with the
yeah,
mediator?
we would request a caucus to the mediators.
All right.
Right. So
Yeah, please,
I
you can
believe-
start. Vaibhav and Evan and his counselor in the breakout.
All right. So, yeah.
So before we begin with the caucus, again, caucus is an extremely confidential setting, and whatever information you divulge in this caucus, that will not be revealed to the other party by the mediators. However, if you point out that you want to discuss this further in the mediation, then definitely the mediators will point out or will put the idea through some discourse. With
So
that,
be completely honest and like with the expectations and whatever you want to convey to us, right? So
right.
open
So I
space.
request my client to begin with the information that she has to.
Sure. So mediators, like I've said in the joint session, that staying with Evans comes with a lot of technicalities that is there because of his family. And like Evans has been very forthcoming, and he has been very understanding of the entire situation. But the vicinity that they have proposed, staying 500 meters to 1 kilometer from the place, that strikes a little, even though I have agreed to this point, that is a little apprehensive to me, because I mean, if we stay 1 kilometer from each other, daily interaction is quite possible, and then the harassment might still continue physically and verbally. So I am a little apprehensive on that point. If my
Yes.
counsel could continue with
Yeah.
this.
So basically, as was stated by my client and myself as well, that the condition of living separately from Mr. Evans' family was a non-negotiable and very prerequisite to the continuation of the marriage between the two. And we again adhere and still stay on that particular point. And in response to the offers that were proposed by Mr. Vaibhav and Mr. Evan in the joint session of living in the vicinity, in a very close proximity and vicinity of Mr. Evans' family, is something which is my client is apprehensive about, and rather my club, owing to the very traumatic past that my client has suffered on behalf of, on part of Mr. Evans' family, she would particularly want to live in a very reasonable, to live far from Mr. Evans' family to a very reasonable distance, and that reasonable distance is to be decided on by Miss Casey, because she is the very victim of the harassment and she has the onus to decide on that point. Furthermore, the financial considerations that were being mentioned by Mr. Webber and Mr. Evan in living is something which makes myself and my client question the kind of attitude of the other party, because they are not willing to form a declaration or a non-negotiable kind of statement as Miss Casey wants on their behalf. So that is something which we want to stay adhere on, that we would like to stay at a very reasonable distance, which would be decided by Ms. Casey. And furthermore, the financial considerations should not be come into the way of this non-negotiable agreement that we tend
Okay.
To add on to that, I'd also like to add that we want to move separately quite soon, because as I have said before, I had put in this offer in front of Evans before and he had rejected it. And in turn, he had turned violent and even slapped me at that point. So I want to go ahead with moving separately quite soon. So that is also an essential prerequisite that I.
All right. So I just wanted to confirm one thing. So the reasonable distance that is more than 1 kilometer, that's non-negotiable on your part, or are you like willing to negotiate on that?
Yes, Miss Mediator, that is non-negotiable, and that is further to be decided by Miss Casey, the reasonable distance sort of. And it is particularly not what Mr. Tawaba proposed of a 500-meter distance or a 1 kilometer distance from Mr. Evans' house.
Yes.
So that's non-negotiable. All right. So we'll okay. And as for the moving separately, is that also like non-negotiable, or that because that will possibly depend on a lot of factors as might be discussed soon. Although of course we'll try to get this in movement soon, but I believe might take a little. That might be influenced by a lot of factors. So I think I'll leave that for the discussion. But so the 1 kilometer thing is non-negotiable. All right.
Sure, yeah.
We can bring in the other party here.
Yeah, I'm shifting them. They should be here, I guess.
I guess they aren't here.
I cannot see anyone in this session. Cloud room. Are they still not here?
No, they aren't here. Yes, they are here. Welcome back, Mr. Evans. And Vaibhav isn't here yet. Vaibhav is here.
I came in college right now.
Welcome back to the mediation on discussion with both the parties. Is there anything that both the parties would like to divulge at this point of time or bring forth to the table of mediation in the presence of the other?
If I may just clarify
Yeah,
a few
sure.
things. So, Casey, my primary concern was that by the time that we get a new house, it is going to take a considerable amount of months, if I'm not wrong. So, during that period, what I suggest is that we can rent out a house and live there while we look at the future arrangements. And this will give all three of us an opportunity to grow to grow together and understand each other in a better way. What is your opinion on it?
I agree with that, Evans. If that place that we take, if we move out quite soon, then I am completely okay with renting out a place that is quite far from the current place that we live in. I can propose that we can shift in somewhere near your office, since where we live right now is quite far away from where you work. So that you can come home early and we can spend time together as a family.
So if I can
Sure,
understand
sure.
clearly, so if I can understand clearly, there is another agenda to the list of 3 agendas here. That is the amount of time that is required to live separately from the family of Evans, right?
Miss Mediator, but I believe that both the parties will sort it out. It's quite a normal issue and it's only a temporary issue. So both the parties will settle it.
As long as
And
they're conducive to the idea of like the transition period, I suppose that should be.
yes. And if Miss Casey agrees to this situation, I believe that Mr. Evans and Miss Casey will do a better will have a better event in this matter.
Right.
And
Also, I had one question, if I may. So both the parties, are you like open to maybe like Abhi, Casey, she talked about sort of renting a house while before you shift to your actual house. So is there any conflicts with regards to the distance that you might live? Like as Casey mentioned that you might, she might want to possibly rent a house near your office, right? Which would give the family more, us time, so to say. So are both the parties, is there any double minds in that sense with regards to the distance of the house from your
There are no concerns on my part.
Miss Mediator, can I get a small clarification?
Sure.
from the saying that that Miss Casey will rent a house near the office, both the parties will live together, right?
Yes. I
Mr. Evan and
meant
Miss Casey.
like
Yeah,
their house, yeah.
yeah,
Meanwhile,
yeah.
transitionally and also maybe later on, because
Okay.
as like both the parties have agreed and very
So
like
much.
cheerfully agreed
Yeah,
that they're open to family vacations and also meeting and stuff. Like there's no uh, a permanent injunction of sorts.
yeah, yeah.
So I
Actually,
suppose
so
the
much.
distance of the house won't be that much of an
Yeah,
issue, right?
Yeah,
actually, so
Same.
much use of separation word is used. I got
Yes.
confused as who will live separately from
No,
who.
not at all. So it's
Yeah,
just
no
yes,
basically,
issues.
I'm glad to see. So there's no problem with respect to the distance because anyway the relations will be maintained with
yeah.
Yeah,
vacations then.
Yes,
That's
Miss
great. All
Mediator.
right.
Also, since the very non-negotiable and the prerequisite part of living separately is fulfilled on part of Mr. Evan and his counsel, so that basically suits Miss Casey, and that is something we would like to move forward with in this session.
Sorry, if you could repeat.
Yeah, so since the very non-negotiable and the prerequisite condition of Miss Casey of living separately from and away from Mr. Evans' family is fulfilled, and that is
Right.
something which both the parties pursue actively. So that is the course that we would like to take forward through the session in the
All right.
course of the
Yes.
dispute. Yeah.
So I believe the first agenda is somewhat like you've come to the conclusion because both the parties are willing to like work on the relationship and the conditions are I think agreed by both the parties, so to say. Right?
Yeah.
Great.
So just to conclude, Casey, let just bygone be bygone, and let's look forward to our new future together. And this was a really efficient mediation session. I would like to thank all the parties involved today.
Right. Thank you so much. I'll just summarize a few points that the parties can discuss later on, or we can discuss in a new session. So, with respect to the location where the parties would want to rent their house where they live together, that that may be discussed by the parties. The financial, how we will be like paying for that will be discussed by the parties, right? And also, of course, because you're transitioning, so that might take a little bit of time. I suppose both the parties are fine with that, right? In the interest of the larger cause. Great, and yeah, so that's that. Everyone is has been able to amicably come to a resolution. I'm really happy that both the parties were able to set aside the differences and also were committed enough to uh, saving this relation, so to say. It's really good to see. I'm really once again really happy that all the parties came to mediation, and I thank you all. And if anything, my co-mediator would like to say.
Yeah, definitely. I guess Malvika said most of it, but really good to see that both the parties maintained the spirit of mediation, that is, maintaining the decorum and also coming to a common ground of interest, creating a basic interest where both the parties can agree on. That is basically what mediation is all about. Not going to litigation, and at the end of this mediation session, I can clearly see that both the parties are successfully happy with the mediation session and that both the parties have improved relations. That is because both the parties have put forth their emotions and all what they want through this mediation session, and we have been able to agree on certain points in the agenda itself. So this entire mediation session has been a success thanks to both the parties and also Malvika here. If both the parties would want anything to add on anything at the end of this entire session, they can really do so.
Thank you,
No,
Miss
Miss
Mediator.
Mediators.
I would also like to thank Evans for coming here with an open heart and an open mind and agreeing to solving all our disputes. I am also very thankful to both the councils and also the mediator. You have helped us to become a family again and helped us to convey our feelings to each other. And I am very happy with the entire progress we've made today. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank you,
nice
Miss
day.
Mediators.
Thank you, Miss
Thank you, Miss
Mediator and
Mediators. Thank
councils.
you, Miss Casey. Thank you, Mr. Council.
Yeah, if you want to discuss anything else, you can discuss in the next meeting.
Yes, yes, of
Sure,
course.
surely.
Schedule it anytime.
Great job, everyone.
Nice session, really a good one.
Thank you for the session. I think our juniors must also be really thankful for that. And If you guys have any questions, just drop them right now. We'll answer them right away regarding the mediation session, and then we'll begin with the client counseling as soon as possible. I did see a few questions if I can find them now.
Yeah, so one of the questions was that I saw regarding the role of the client. So I think Dhruv
Okay.
was asking that what's the like why do we need a client in the competition, and how is he marked and how
Right.
is he judged? So yeah.
Okay. So I'll answer the questions a little quickly. First of all, usually it depends on the competitions. Sometimes a client is marked separately and the council is marked separately. And in some competitions, it's a negotiation team that is marked together, the client and council. So their criteria are usually pretty same. Um, you guys can definitely access, score sheets that are available on the internet, but it's basically advocacy skills, information gathering, and body language. Body language is important for everyone. So these are just basic. The client and the council are basically marked on very similar criteria. If they're not marked separately. If they're marked as a negotiating team, the criteria are exactly the same. Otherwise, there's a very minute difference. You can definitely access score sheets to get a better idea regarding that. There was also another question. It was a bit, yeah, one second. It was, can Casey demand alimony? Yeah, so it was a pre-litigation mediation. Alimony is decided after litigation is done. But yeah, if it was about a maintenance proceeding, if the mediation was regarding that, so yeah, there could have been a discussion regarding that, but this wasn't about alimony or maintenance or those kind of aspects. I have a few feedbacks regarding the sessions. I'll point them out really quickly for, these are not like my expert opinion or anything. These are just mere feedback. I would really like the mediators to keep in mind that do not use terms like will advise, because it's the mediators are not supposed to advise or give suggestions, it's just facilitation because the judges consider these points. And then avoid using terms like opposing counsel, because try using names, because you all settled on using first names, so it's better that you use names only. And then I would really appreciate if the counsel and the client, they have a similar tone. So if the client is very acting very conducive and very supportive and very, adjusting, the counsel should also have a similar tone. Otherwise, it sounds like the counsel is supposed to go, is looking like he goes against the client. It just the counsel should definitely have a harder stand on the interests and the demands of the client, but it should look and sound that they are in the same tone. Then yeah, I noticed one of you guys said that please don't use this word to the other client. I mean, it's okay, yeah, because it's a family mediation, the tone is very different, but that can also be avoided because, the other person might get offended by that, or that can change the tone of the session. They are like, so avoid using those kind of things as well. But also, this is very important. This was a family mediation, so if it was a business or commercial mediation, the things would have been very different. It would have been numbers and stuff. So I think this was you guys actually caught the tone of the session, talked about emotions as well, so that was great. And yeah, I think that was all. And also, if the mediators take caucus for one party, it's almost necessary for them to, almost in the sense they have to do it. Otherwise, it goes on the points of the being impartial and being unbiased. So it's important to have caucus for both the parties if you have it for one. Any other questions we have? No legal issues are involved. So yeah, the mediation is basically taken it. First of all, this was a pre-litigation mediation, so they did not even have a lot of things to discuss otherwise. But mediation is taken, off. It's taken to be out of the court, so it's not decided. Like the legal nitty-gritties and nuances are not discussed. And if they are discussed, it's not like it's prohibited. If they are discussed in a very informal manner. So the legal issues are usually not discussed in mediation. The marks and what are the other questions, Rachit, if you can read them out for me?
Yeah, one of the questions that I would see in Q&A box was regarding the role of the council. and what exactly with like what he does with regards to offer and acceptance.
Right. So the council is completely, mediation is a client-driven process. So the council is just there to advise the client so that the client doesn't get, maybe too emotional and just compromise on his interest. So the council's role is to advise the client. But if the client is making a decision, so the council cannot oppose them or go against them. So it's not the council that accepts or denies an offer. The council might make an offer in the interest of the client, but it's the client that takes the final decision. So it's a client-driven process in that sense.
Right, exactly. Just to add on to that, basically the council's role is to just to see whatever offers has been pointed out from the other side, and then see the pros and cons of it, and just like even the client can also see the pros and cons of the particular offer. But this is the role of the council to just have his client's back and tell him whether he should go ahead with the offer or not. So yeah, these are all the roles that council would play. But once again, he is only there to advise. He cannot like force upon his decisions on the client. Client is the final person to take a call upon on
Right.
any offer.
Also regarding the caucus, a few competitions demand a compulsory caucus, and so it is also written in the competitions rules itself that who can call the caucus. Some competitions only allow the mediators to call for the caucus, and the others call for any party to call for the caucus. So if it's compulsory or not compulsory depends on the circumstance. You are also marked on the timing of the caucus as well. So when the caucus is called, it's usually called when there's a deadlock between the parties. The discussion is very repetitive, as we could see here that the same three conditions were going on again and again. So the mediators offered a caucus. And so that is how you mark the caucus. And it's very essential because sometimes, even though this was a family dispute, but sometimes there is a lot of confidential information that you need to discuss with the mediator and in the absence of the other party with your counsel as well. So the caucus is very beneficial regarding those things. Yeah, it can take place in any matter. It can take place in property matter, except for a few exceptions of criminal matters and others that are not supposed to be sorted through mediation. But most matters can be sorted through mediation. I think
Bhavleen has asked Tanvi that anybody can take part in ADR competitions or just ADR members.
yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? Like, should we allow all of you to, or just only people of the field? I don't know, like, what is the meaning of this question? Anyways, I think, do we have any more questions?
No, I don't think so. There are any more questions. We can start with the client counseling session. And so, like before we begin, Chavi and Vamik will be the persons who will be, along with me, who will be conducting the client counseling session. So, either of you, can you just give them a little brief about the client counseling session that is going to happen now?
So basically, this client counseling session is divided majorly into two parts. First would be the consultation session, and then would be the post-consultation session. So the consultation session is the main session in which you interact with the client, and then you first of all introduce yourselves to the client and you ask like how would he like to be addressed and things like that. And subsequently you ask what brings the client here, and then you ask the client questions and elicit the confidential information which has been provided to the client and which is not known to you, so as to you are aware that what kind of legal exposure your client has, or what would be the things which can legally save him from being prosecuted or things like that. And so you ask questions, and then subsequently you advise your client based on your legal knowledge, and you also explain to him the problem, which as far as you have understood in layman terms, because the client as a person is not really well versed with the legal facts and all. And subsequently then in the post consultation session you discuss the legal modalities, the legal nitty-gritties with your co-counsel, and then accordingly you see you discuss what would be the future course of action. And that's pretty much what happens in this session. The consultation session is for 25 to 30 minutes, and the post consultation session is short. It's for a period of 5 minutes. So now I would request you all to keenly observe how we are going to go about it, so that you get a hang of how these things work. So I guess now we should begin. Chavi, are you here?
Yeah,
Yes, yes,
just
yes.
before we begin, Vamik, thank you for the brief. Like I would like to clarify to everyone present here that for these mock rounds, we have given you the GI, which is the general information, and the CI, which is the confidential information, right? But in the real competition, you will only get the CI of one particular side, right? So, like if let's say you are representing the requesting party, you will only get the CI of that particular party. And for the client counseling session, both the team members will not get any CI. There will be only GI. Only GI will be provided to you, and CI is something that you have to extract from the client during the during the course of the session. So yeah, just to clarify this, so that you don't think that you will be getting CI for every competition, right? So yeah, that's just a clarification.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess Vamik, we can begin with the session.
Sure. Chavi, please begin.
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Vora. Hello and welcome to AIB Law Firm. I'm Chavi Singla and this is my colleague, Mr. Vamik Wasim. How would you like to be addressed?
Yeah, hi Chavi and hi Vamik. Is it okay if I call you Chavi and Vamik?
Sure.
And you can call me Kunal, please. Please call me Kunal.
Indeed, Kunal. We hope that you're doing well and that you did not face any troubles connecting with us. We understand that because of this pandemic, we are caught in a virtual setting. Otherwise, we would have loved to have a one-on-one discussion with you in our chambers. But I and my colleagues sincerely hope that we can use this time in assisting you and in helping you solve your problems. Kunal, is this your first time visiting a law firm?
Not really. Just because of the comedy, the type of comedy that I do, I have visited, and I also have some lawyer friends. But yeah, this would be my first time, visiting to particularly advocates or any firm. But yeah, I have been in touch with the lawyers. That's what I can say.
All right, Kunal. So here at our law firm, at AIB Law Firm, I and my colleague like to meet our clients collectively so that both of us can benefit the client from our collective expertise. And in case any of us is unavailable because of some unavoidable circumstances, the other one can assist you and help you in case of exigencies. I hope our secretary has already given you our business card. My colleague here will be the first point of contact for the discussion of the client counseling session.
Yeah, I've received all the information through the email.
Right. With that being said, Mr. Kunal, I would request you to be as open and transparent as possible, as any communication between us is covered under privilege and within the four corners of the non-disclosure agreement, which shall be shared by my co-counsel on the screen as of this moment. This will be shared to you by our secretary, and subsequently you may sign the same accordingly. And now, cutting to the chase, Mr. Kunal, please tell us what brings you here.
Oh, okay, all right. So I'll tell you what actually happened. So the thing is that I was taking a flight from Lucknow and coming back to Mumbai after completing one of my stand-up shows over there. And so during that particular time, I met Mr. Arnab Chaudhary, who's the editor-in-chief of the BND news channel, Bold and Decisive news channel, and he's like a very famous personality. We have all seen him, doing his stuff on the shows, and even I am a big fan kind of a way. So I was like excited to see him. I've even have cracked jokes on him. So I was definitely awed to see him in person. And so all I wanted to do was have a little chat with him and just talk to him with regards to whatever the work's going on at the back end and whatever he's up to. So at that particular point, I tried to contact him, but he was not in the mood, I would say, and he looked like he didn't like me actually. And but I was like I was very excited, and so I thought that I could even juice out some content from this meeting. So I thought that it would be good for me if I could pursue a little more. So in that particular pursuance, for pursuing him, I inside the flight I tried to contact him once again. And I asked him very like I was gonna ask him about all the stuff that going. And so I contacted him and asked him with regards to what's going on, but he didn't show any interest. So to grab his interest, what I did was I kind of made up a fake story right over there and then, and I just I was like cracking a joke in a way, right? So I just told him that do you know, Mr. Arnab, that in this particular flight we don't even have left Philonji, and so and yet we are traveling together. So just to crack the jokes and break the ice. break the ice. So that's why I did that. But Mr. Ornab kind of took it in a very different way than I was expecting it to go, and he kind of started behaving hysterically. He panicked, and he became shocked, and he started yelling to other passengers that this plane flight doesn't have a left phalange, and so how are we going to land and all in that. And so his reaction was becoming very funny. So that's why what I did was I took out my mobile and started filming him then and there. And it was a very comedical scene, if you ask me. And so I particularly enjoyed that particular moment. I wanted to interrupt him in between and tell that there is no such part as phalange in an aeroplane. But he never listened to me. He just went on with his spree, and this particular thing reached to his particular news channel that our editor-in-chief is in a flight which has no left phalange, and they started filming it, and their reporters were like they were on the runways of the platform of the Mumbai airport, and they tried to make out a story out of it, and it became a national story then and there itself, like within minutes, I would say. So yeah, after all of this happened, after the incident happened, I uploaded the video just to show my fans about the reaction of Mr. Arnab, and that video received a lot. It became viral, and I started receiving a lot of death threats. So once again, it's very normal for me to receive death threats, but this time they were in such numbers that I was actually scared that what am I gonna do after all this all this fiasco. And not just that, I even received notice from the Comfly Airlines, the airlines that I was traveling in. They kind of gave me the notice that they're banning me for 6 months. And after that, there were some other other airlines also joined that particular list. The names of these airlines are SpicyJet and Hind Airlines, and they also put me in the no-fly list for a lot of long period of time. And so I was like baffled that how did this happen, and like what was my exact fault in this. So yeah, that's the whole scenario that happened. And now I'm basically afraid about this ban that has been imposed on me from taking the flights, because the thing is that I'm a national comedian, and I have to go to like various cities from Mumbai to Delhi to Gurgaon to every place in the country to do my stand-up shows, which are already pre-booked. So I have the pre-bookings of for like for 5 to 6 months from now on, and so I need to get on those flight as and when required. So yeah, this is the biggest trouble that I'm facing right now. And yeah, this is the trouble with regards to I would like you guys to tell me what can be done and how can you guys help me. Yeah, so that's the story.
Right, Mr. Kunal. As you mentioned, as was also given in your email, other airlines like SpicyJet and Hind Airlines have also put you in their no-fly list. So it
Yes.
becomes imperative for us to know why this particularly happened. Since the incident took place only in the Fly aircraft, and even if the ban was legitimate there, why do you think that the other airlines put a ban on you? Have similar instances like this taken place on other aircraft, or can there be any reason which triggered these airlines to also put a ban on you?
So okay, so like you mentioned that this is going to be a confidential session, no?
Indeed,
Right.
Mr.
So
Kunal.
yeah. So Chavi, what happened is that I did had a flight before, like some months before, before this particular flight of Fly Airlines. That this flight was with the Hind Airlines, and that particular time I met this famous personality whose name is Alex Dawkins. And Mr. Alex Dawkins is he's very famous, and he's also editor-in-chief of one of the biggest news channels of the country. But he is a flat earther, and he's kind of a person who denies evolution and the theories of evolution. And during my chat with him, I get to know about this particular fact about him. And he and me being a student of I even hold degrees in cosmology and biology. I got kind of furious at him for even saying these stuff, like how can a learned person like him deny evolution. And so I kind of went overboard and shouted on him in that particular flight in the Hind Airlines. and I also the pilot had to intervene in that particular flight just to just to calm me down. And so yeah, that's happened that happened like some months before. But once again, no particular action was taken on me at that particular time, because once again, it was just a dispute between two persons who were having a chat. And so I don't think that it was a very big deal. But after this particular instance that happened with Mr. Ornab, and even in this particular instance, I didn't have had much role to play. I was just filming the reaction of a joke that I cracked in front of Mr. Ornab. So yeah, after this instance, they have also kind of maybe pick up on the earlier instance, and now all these airlines are hounding upon me because of the pressure that Mr. Ornab might have created, because he's a very well connected person and he has connections to the top. So yeah, so like, what do you say? How do I counter these narratives, and how do I get myself off the no-fly list?
Right. Thank you, Mr. Kunal, for being so comprehensive about the situation you're currently in. However, we would like to have some more information with regard to the situation you're in. So I have a question, like, what were the consequences of you cracking that joke? Did it endanger the safety of the co-passengers or cabin crew for that matter?
Right. So see, jokes are always, it depends on the person who are listening them, and how do that person interpret them. And Mr. Ornab definitely didn't took them in the right stride in which I meant to. And he went berserk. He kind of opened his seat belt and get off his seat and started shouting that we are all gonna die, we all will die, and this plane will crash. And so he became haywire. But to me, that was very funny, because once again, like, I was shocked to see such a reaction. And yeah, even other members, some of the persons who would be other fans of Mr. Ornab, maybe they also they just believed in whatever Mr. Ornab was saying. And Mr. Ornab didn't even clarify it with me, or even ask that, are you like, is this a joke, or are you kidding? He didn't say anything like that. He just went on and made this a very huge deal. And I don't know how did the news reach to his news channel. Did he message them or what? But yeah, it did create a form of panic. But I was fully seated in this particular instance. I was just filming the whole scene with my iPhone at that particular time.
Right, Mr. Kunal. So after all of this happened, after this fiasco took place, and some of the passengers and some of the staff on the aircraft were also disturbed because of this incident, were you by any form or through any manner informed about this disturbance, or were you informed about the fiasco that you had created before you were served the order for the ban?
No notice or nothing was given to me. The ban came as a shock to me, because even after I after the flight boarded landed on Mumbai, at Mumbai, I had a talk with the pilot, and he seemed very chilled about it. He was like, yeah, I heard that this and that happened, and I had a very frank chat with him. He also said that you shouldn't have done that. But once again, he didn't inform me or said anything about that I might get banned from boarding flights because of this particular instance. So I was not served any notice whatsoever in this particular scenario. And so yeah, that troubles me more, because like, I don't understand that how am I the one to pay the price, and not Mr. Ornab, because he was the one who shouted and created the panic. I just made a very a cool joke, I guess.
Right. So, Mr. Kunal, how did you come to know about the fact that you were banned by Comfly Airlines and put on the no-fly list of two other airlines?
It was from the BND News channel itself. These guys were the one who broke the story on Twitter and on like their platform. So yeah, that's where I saw that.
So, just to be clear, you were not served with any notice or any communication or any reasons therein with respect to the same?
No written notice was given to me at all. The only thing that happened during the flight was with regards to the captain intervening and just to calm down Mr. Ornab. But yeah, but they took action against me and haven't served me any notice as of now.
All right, Mr. Kunal. So as far as our understanding goes, for the benefit of your problem, we'd like to explain
or what we've understood from the problem. The basic issue here is that you simply created a video of Mr. Orner behaving in what you call is in a hysterical manner, and you simply captured that and put it on your social media as you do as a stand-up comedian. And after
Right.
that, you were served a notice of not flying for, if I'm not wrong, for a period of 6 months on
Yes, it's
Comply
for 6
Airlines.
months. Yes, it's for 6 months from Comply Airlines, and other airlines have also joined with the Comply Airlines, such as SpicyJet.
Right. And the problem here is that you were not given any formal notice and no reasons were given to you regarding the ban, and you only got to know about it through Mr. Ornab news channel. So the problem presently
Yes.
is that you've not been given any formal notice, no information about why the ban was imposed, and no information regarding why the other airlines reciprocated this act and followed Comply Airlines for this act of theirs.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Now that we have understood your problem in the correct way, now as far as the law is concerned, there can be two possibilities which may have arisen. I'll explain to you in the simplest terms possible. The first possibility, Mr. Kunal, is that you have been placed under an interim ban, which can only be placed as per law for a maximum period of 30 days while the internal committee reviews this particular matter. But what has happened in your case, the ban has been imposed on you for 6 months, which is therefore in contravention to the civil aviation rules in case you are being placed under an interim ban. And now, subsequently, the second possibility which may have arisen is that an internal committee has sat on your particular situation on the instance of the pilot in command, as you mentioned that he was aware about the situation. And now the internal committee has been constituted, but you have not been afforded with any reason in writing or any communication, which again is against the civil aviation rules. So therefore, we have grounds to challenge your situation in two ways, both procedural grounds, and this same would be challenged before the appellate body, which is set by the Ministry of Civil Aviation. So that are the legal remedies available to you in both the eventualities, as I've explained.
So, if Mr. Vamik, if I could just ask one more thing,
Right.
like how soon can we, get the ban lifted? Because once again, like I have a show in like 4 or 5 days from now, and I already have, booked the flight tickets with the Comply Airlines itself. And so, with all the pressure that that has been created, and even the minister concerned with this particular civil aviation, Minister Pradeep Singh Puri, have openly like said on Twitter and said that the action is right and all. But I like I said, I wasn't made aware of anything. So how soon can we like get the ban lifted or like take action on this particular thing?
Right, Mr. Kunal, I understand and I agree that this ban has been unjustly placed upon you. And for the same, I would like to mention that there is a total of 60 days which we have in which we can appeal before the appellate body. We have a total of 60 days, but we will file the appeal as soon as possible. As soon as you give us all the documents which are there with you, we will create an appeal and we will file it before the appropriate body, and then we will appear before them and make sure that it is done as soon as possible so that your shows go on time and no harm is accrued to you on that front.
Also, to add to that, Mr. Kunal, if you feel that the notice was not given to you and you were not properly informed about the consequences of what you've done, and you were simply given a notice through the BND news channel itself, and that resulted in death threats to you, and people tweeted about it. If you feel that you have been defamed, and if you feel that your reputation has been harmed in any manner, we would also advise you to file a suit for defamation and ask the BND news channel to give you an apology. If that suits you, if you feel that that can help you in mending your reputation in any manner, we would definitely believe that that can also be one of the legal remedies that can be looked up.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Chavi. But yeah, before moving ahead with the defamation, that's the point that I was gonna talk to you about. Secondly, with the death threats, like see, it's not a very rarely occurrence with me. I do get regular threats, that death threats in the YouTube comments also on my videos. But this time, these threats have been organized, and they have been, from and like I would like to take action on these particular people as well, in under the cyber laws or whatever, if they are in India. I don't know if they are or not, but I see this is also one thing that I would like to take action on. Defamation is something that we can think about. I can think about later on. But what do you see? How do I tackle the death threats that I'm receiving? I'm like receiving death threats regularly, and I'm even receiving the death threats on my mobile number. My mobile number has been leaked somehow. I don't know who has done that, and people are even calling me. So like, how do we counter that, and how do we file a case on these miscreants?
So, Mr. Kunal, we can approach the cyber cell for this under the cyber laws of the country. We can give those numbers, and we can particularly report those accounts. We understand that it is a very sensitive profession that you've entered into, and it's your job to make comments, even if they are mocking or if they are satirical in nature. And definitely, nobody should receive such death threats, and there are remedies available for the same. So we will definitely approach the cyber cell. We will report these numbers and we will report these accounts. And we can also keep a check if you receive such threats in the future, so that they are controlled and they are monitored. Since your safety is of supreme concern to us and should also be to the country, we would like to take this step.
Indeed. So as mentioned.
So sorry to disturb you, Vamik. Just to add to this, can I also have like some police security or something like that? Because if God forbid, if any of these
Can you
people are
increase
serious
the volume?
about killing
You're
me.
not audible.
Okay, am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible.
All right. Yeah, so like I was saying, Mr. Vamik, can I have like some police security or something of that sort, so that if any of these people are actually gonna do what they're gonna do, so what can be done about that?
Indeed. So I was going to address that part only. First of all, as mentioned by my co-counsel herself, that first of all, the first step now is to file a first information report against all these miscreants who have been cyberbullying you, who have been issuing death threats to you. The first step is that, with respect to the FIR in the cyber cell is one thing which you should do at this very instant. And secondly, as far as the security is concerned, we can approach the appropriate court for which will direct the home department of the particular state. Like if you're residing in Mumbai, we will approach the appropriate court which has jurisdiction there, and they will provide you with the security by directing the home department that you have sufficient requirement of security as you have been dealt with death threats. So for that, we would need the documents pertaining to the same, that where you have been issued death threats and amongst other things. We would require those documents so we can file another case on that front, so that we can have a remedy for that. We can approach the court, which will direct the home department for the same, and you will get security in case your case, if the court feels that your case is fit for granting security to you, Mr. Kunal.
All right. Thank you.
Right. So do you have any other concern or any other query which you would like to, which you'd like to confide in us? Any other issue which you would like us to address? Please let us know.
Yeah, just one last thing with regards to the information that I provided you with the incident with the Alex Dawkins. So this incident is something that that is not in the news as of now. This incident I have told you as part of the client-attorney relationship or whatever you call that. But the thing is, in the airlines concerned for that particular situation have not issued any notice and have not given any cause for banning me. If they wanted to, this incident happened like 6 months before, or maybe even before that. So like, if they wanted to take any action, they should have taken against at that time, I guess. So I would also file I would also like to file a different case on Hind Airlines for just and SpicyJet for just jumping the ships and following whatever the Comfly Airlines have done on the instructions of Mr. Arnab. And yeah, so this is my last concern, that this should not get out in any way possible.
So yes, Mr. Kunal, that's a legitimate concern. However, with regard to that, I would like to mention to you that it may not be the case that this particular instance of you being placed in the no-flight list has been necessitated by the earlier incident. it may have been necessitated by this incident, because the airlines are at liberty to put you in the no-fly list if they feel that you might also endanger their security. Only one instance, this Arnab Chaudhary incident, is enough for them to put you in the no-fly list. It may not be the case that they have put you in the no-fly list because of that earlier incident. It may be because of this. So, and also in light of the fact that you have also been placed in the no-fly list by SpicyJet Airlines. So I believe this is the sole reason why you have been placed in the no-fly list. And I don't believe the earlier incident would be a reason per se for that matter.
Okay, that
However,
makes
adding
sense.
to what my co-counsel said, Mr. Kunal, we believe that since Comfly Airlines themselves did not have a legitimate reason to put a ban on you, we also believe that the other airlines also did not have a legitimate reason to repeat the action and to reciprocate the same against you without a legitimate reason. So we believe that when we tackle the nuances of this case and when we approach Comfly Airlines for the reason why they've banned you, and when they ultimately lift the ban, if they do, we'll also get the same done by the other airlines, because they simply repeated the action of Comfly Airlines, which they again would repeat when
Yeah,
or
exactly.
if Comfly Airlines lifts the ban, right?
Right. Okay, so
Are there any
yeah,
other
thank you.
concerns, Mr. Kunal?
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Chavi and Mr. Vamik, for briefing me about about all the scenarios, and I'm like feeling more reassured after this particular session that I do have a chance, because this is frankly I was like thinking that I don't stand any chance in this particular case, given the connections Mr. Chaudhary has in the government. And so this is something that I would like to also comment to you guys also. Do you really think that you would be able to tackle these people? Because the thing is we must be up against a very big force this time. It could go till to the central government, because he has connections all over. So like I'm trusting in you guys. But yeah, so this is something that I would just like to comment, that would you be like able to do the task?
Indeed, Mr. Kunal. On that front, I would like to quote something here, that the people in power, no matter how high, should always remember that the law is above them. So the law in this particular instance, as far as I have seen, is with you. You have a strong case, and we shall be putting it forth in the best way possible we can. And the best thing you can do as of this moment is to trust the rule of law, and to trust the fact that the law is going to stand by you, because you yourself have done nothing wrong and you've been unjustly banned from flying, and your personal freedoms have been curtailed on that front. So don't fear anything. The law is by your side. We are standing beside you, and hopefully things will fall into place.
Indeed,
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you.
Kunal.
Thank you.
Again, we would like to reassure you that we are very thankful and grateful that you came with an open mind here and told us everything that was relevant to the case. We assure you that none of it would go beyond this virtual four-wall setting, and that we'll try in our best capability to help you out. So, as Mr. Vamik already stated, the best alternative for you is to have faith in us, and we will try our ultimate best to help you out.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for helping me out. And thank you for this particular session.
Just on an ending note, Mr. Kunal, the Wakalatnama for this, for you engaging us as your attorneys, shall be shared to you by a secretary, and you may sign the same and send it over to us, as well as the documents which you all have. You may send it over to us so that we can prepare your case as soon as possible. Thank you.
Yes, I'll send all the required documents, and you can, with regards to the death threats, you can like check on my Twitter wall and over there. But I'll send you those too.
Sure,
Thank you
will
so
do.
much. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you,
for the session.
Mr. Kunal.
Thank you, Mr. Kunal.
Thank you. So, what do you think, Chavi, about this particular, about the legal nuances of this particular case?
Vamik, I particularly think that the act of Comfly Airlines is extremely overboard and unwarranted, because they've not given any reasons for doing what they did. Also, they've not informed Mr. Kunal directly, which was his right to know. Neither have they given the reasons out of the 3 categories of bans that they have under the no-fly list, under the civil aviation rules. They've not provided him with any reason. And also, even if he was responsible for verbal harassment, the ban is overboard and disproportionate. What do you think in this particular regard?
So I believe we have both strong procedural as well as substantive grounds for challenging this decision in the appellate committee, which would be constituted by the Ministry of Civil Aviation. And on that front, first of all, I believe procedurally the airlines have not followed the procedure, because as I mentioned, there are two scenarios which have arisen. Firstly, in case there is an interim ban that can extend to a maximum of 30 days, but they have placed a ban of 6 months. So we can challenge it on that ground in case it is an interim ban. However, in the eventuality it is a ban after the internal committee has sat on the case of Mr. Kunal, then also they ought to have provided reasons in writing as to why he has been banned. But as per his own words, he has not been provided with any justification whatsoever. So on those grounds, I believe this decision is liable to be challenged. And as per the concerns of Mr. Kunal, I think we should file a case as soon as possible so that this is adequately dealt with in an expeditious manner. And secondly, as far as the substantive grounds are concerned, I believe since there are levels in as per the civil aviation rules, he did not do anything except recording that particular scene, and it was Mr. Arnab Chaudhary who did the things as mentioned, and even those did not constitute physical abuse or verbal abuse for that matter. So a ban of 6 months, I believe, is utterly disproportionate, as mentioned by you, and I believe we have a good, strong case on that front.
Exactly. I totally agree with it. And what I also feel is that since these death threats are affecting Mr. Kunal so much, we believe that we should also start taking action against them, because a stand-up comedian of his level should not feel apprehensive in expressing his views in any form. So we'll also file an FIR immediately in the cyber cell, and also track the number of people who've been sending him such death threats and take immediate action against the same. And can also discuss the nuances of the defamation suit in a later session after we've tackled both of these issues.
Indeed. And also the concern of Mr. Kunal with regard to his security, we can approach the appropriate court so that it may issue a direction to the Home Department of that particular state, so that he is given adequate security in light of the death threats which have been given to him in broad daylight. So I believe that would be it. And I think the best course which we can apply as of now is to do three things. Firstly, file this case as soon as possible so that his shows do not get affected. And secondly, file a first information report. And thirdly, we can approach the appropriate court for his security. I guess these are the three courses of action which should be at top priority, and we should proceed accordingly. What do you think?
Right. I totally agree with the same. And I think we should give much precedence to his security, because he's feeling threatened and he's feeling scared of whatever is happening. And his security, his privacy should be of utmost concern to us right now. And these are the three legitimate solutions that are on the table right now. So we'll discuss them whenever we meet the next time.
Right. Let's do that. It was such a fruitful session. Thank you for being my co-counsel.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. It was an amazing session. If we have any questions, drop them in the chat box or the Q&A box, and Vamik and Chavi can answer them right away. Also, I would like to say that to all the juniors, whether it's mediation or it's client counseling, it's based on your personal strategy. So whatever we have performed here today in the mock, it is not to be replicated anyhow. You guys can develop strategy by watching other videos on YouTube from good competitions. For client counseling, I'd suggest there are videos of Louis M. Brown. They are really good videos, and for mediation, you can watch final rounds of ICC or INADR, or you guys can frame your own strategy through practice and through other participating in competitions as well. But I think our motive to do these rounds were to tell you guys that how the process goes, and so that you guys can at least be familiar to how these competitions can take place, so that you can actually participate and participate in the notified competitions that CADR does in the future. So I think, do you have any questions?
Yeah, Tanvi.
Yeah,
I'm seeing this question repeatedly with regards to people outside CADR allowed. Yeah, everyone in the RJ annual is allowed to participate. Just like intra modes, you have to just like the intra modes that just happened, you also have to give the intra mediation and intra client counseling competition. And once you have given that particular competition, you would be eligible to participate in any of the mediation and client counseling or negotiation competitions that happen. So it is not reserved for CADR members at any cost. It cannot be like yeah. So just to clarify this to everyone.
Yeah, so
I'm saying
what
this twice.
CADR does is notify these competitions and allot them to you on on basis of your rank in the intra competition that will happen soon.